Carlson Software is happy to announce the new version of Carlson Layout, version 2.0. It's the latest version of our construction survey product for Android. This version comes with new features and 2 newly available modules for roading and hybrid, and this video will be an overview of the new features. So let's dig in. I want to start by talking about the all-new roading module, which is one of 2 new paid modules available in Layout 2.0. And this roading module is going to allow you to load roading files, center lines and profiles, or selecting from a polyline, and do roading inside of layout, which is following an alignment and staking out the alignment. Let's go ahead and jump in and look at this. I have a job called Saddlebrook here. It's a subdivision that's being designed here in Kentucky. So I've already got that loaded up, and we're using the GPS simulator, and I'll just press connect to simulate a connection and then jump into this job. Now I'm going to go off on a little tangent here to show you another really nice new feature in Layout 2.0. You'll notice the Zoom Extents button that's always been up on the upper left in our zooming. If I press that on this drawing, you'll notice that I zoom way out 1.3 million feet. And that's because this drawing has some sort of artifact in it that's way off the drawing. And anyone who's used CAD software has seen this. So Zoom Extents at this point becomes useless. So Layout 2.0, if you press and hold on the Extents button, you'll get to some advanced zooming options, which were actually there in Layout 1.0, but the one that's been added here, so this allows you to zoom in and out manually if screen pinch doesn't work. But notice the new Zoom Most option right here toward the bottom. If I press this, what this does is a Zoom Most where it looks for artifacts in the drawing and basically ignores them in order to get you a more useful Zoom Extents view of a drawing. This is really, really good for some drawings that have this problem. Now I'll press close to close this extra menu, and what's really nice is that once I've done this once, this Zoom Most option kind of gets sticky for this drawing, meaning I'm not going to have Zoom Extents up there constantly tripping me up. Once I've used Zoom Most once, it's going to stay that way. If you wanted to switch back, you could simply tap and hold and go back to press Extents again, and it would pin the Extents up there. The other thing that's buried in here is the Zoom Previous, which is really nice if you need to jump back to a previous zoom level. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to leave it at Zoom Most. And now let's have a look at this subdivision. This is the Saddlebrook subdivision. And we can see that it's got 3 nice roads: Ryan Mill Road, Allen Place Road, and Leslie Drive. So we're going to start by adding these roads to our project. And I'm going to do that by pressing the pyramid in the top left corner and then going to Import. And next we'll choose the new option, Roading Files, CL, and Profile. And here we have the options, Import from Site and New Road. If you have your jobs organized together under one site and layout, one benefit is that you can share resources. So if you define a road in one of your jobs within the site, that road is easily shared with all the other jobs in your site, so you don't need to redefine it. In this situation, I don't have any roads defined in my site, so we're going to go ahead and click New Road to create a new road. And here I'll define my horizontal and vertical alignment for my road, which can come from a polyline, which can be used for both, or from a center line or profile file if you're coming from another CAD software. If you have roads defined in a land XML file, those will also come in automatically through land XML import. So those will come in and automatically create road definitions within layout. We're going to use create from polyline in this example. So I will type in the name of my polyline. This is going to be the main entrance. And I'm just going to choose create from polyline. And I'll just zoom in. I'm going to choose to use this polyline for the profile too, so I only have to select it once. And I'm going to select the center line. Now in this particular drawing, there are 2 polylines located on top of each other, so I'm going to choose the one that has the elevation since we're using it for our profile. And here I can redefine the start station if I want, but I'm going to use this as 0. So done. And press done to create my road. And so now we see that I have 1 main entrance road in my list. I'm going to go ahead and create roads for the other 2 roads on this job. So we'll go New Road again, and we'll create Allen Road. And I'm going to again choose from polyline. Select the one with elevations. Done and done. And the 3rd road, which is Leslie Drive. So Leslie. Zooming in to select. Oh, create from polyline first. Then I'll select. And done. Done. So now we're looking at my road library, which is all the roads that are defined in this job. And I want to bring to your attention these little gray icons on the right over here. You will see these throughout layout, and I want to remind everyone what those do. When you see that icon, it's an indication that you can swipe left on that item to access the trash can icon to delete it. So if you needed to remove a road from your job, you could do that to remove it. And you see this everywhere in layout, in many combo boxes and lists, anywhere where you can delete something. That gray icon is a reminder that you can swipe left. So now we have all 3 roads defined in our job, and I can tap them and highlight so I can quickly identify which is which if there's any confusion there. But we're just going to go done and go back to the map. All right, now that we have our roads defined, we're going to go ahead and look at laying those out. So we're going to tap our layout tab over on the right, and we're going to press add. And now at the very bottom, if you have the roading module, you'll see this road option. Actually, if you don't have the roading module, this will still be here, and you can tap it and go into a temporary demo mode if you just want to try this module out. So we're going to tap a road to add a road to our layout list, and we've immediately got access to all the roads in our job that we've already defined. And we can tap them again to identify which is which. So I'm going to go ahead and do the main entrance and press select. And it's going to jump right in there and start laying out this road. Layout does a type of staking called running station definition for roads automatically. So if we're zooming in on this map, you can see that what we've done is it's starting automatically to stake and show you the directions to station 0. You can see that here on the right, the target station that we're going after, the current left-right offset to that station, and the current station where we're located, our current location. And that's reflected here on the map as well, with these orange lines and the labeling showing us exactly where we are in relation to the center line at all times. The stations are chosen automatically based on the critical points along the road. So you will automatically jump to the nearest beginning or end of a straight line segment, beginning or end of curve, or point of curvature. No matter where you are on the road, you'll automatically be given directions to the nearest transitional point on that road. So here we see that it's staking station 0 to the beginning, and if we were to move further up the road, and I'll just use my simulator to jump around, we can see that now it's going after target station 26, which is the nearest transition point on the road. On the right, we can change what our directions look like. If we don't want to see the current stationing, we can just swipe on this blue box here to change. And now we have very basic go up and go left directions telling us exactly where to go on this road. If we were to stop this stakeout, I just want to show you this, that because we have this layout list, and which is kind of a big part of layout where you can add as many things you want to it, we can actually add multiple roads as well. So I'll press add, and we'll just do road again. And I can add Leslie Road and stop it, and I'll just add one more road. I'm going to add Allen as well. And now I actually have all 3 of my roads in my stakeout list, and I can just tap to jump between them which one I'm staking. So you have the flexibility of the layout list here. If you wanted to have points in it, lines in it, whatever you have, you're staking it all at once with a quick tap to jump between which element you're staking. Now I want to go into a feature that can be used anywhere in the software, but actually pairs really nicely with layout in particular. So I'm going to jump up into the pyramid in the top left, and we're going to go to settings. And you'll notice you can press collapse all to close all the categories of settings. It makes it a little bit easier to find what you're looking for. If we go to feature code settings, now we have had feature coding in layout for quite a while, but there's a new add-on to this which is really helpful. I'm going to choose the paper icon here to edit my code list. And here's my code list, and you'll notice now there's this new column on the left called quick codes. This was not here before. And if we scroll down our list, I can press star next to some codes that I think I might be using a lot. So I'm going to choose iron pin, tree, and manhole as the 3. I can star as many as I want, and I'll just press save to do that. And then back out to my map. And on the left here on the main menu, there's now this option for quick codes. And if I tap it, what it does is open up a submenu. When this submenu is open, at any time in the software, I can tap on one of these codes to immediately store a point coded with that value, which allows me to do feature coding even as I'm laying out a road or whatever I'm laying out or doing, and I need to feature code something, it's immediate one press feature coding. So suppose I'm working and I'm out laying out this road, and I also want to do feature coding as I'm working without having to go back and do it in a second pass. I just leave my quick codes option open, and then over on the left, suppose I run into a manhole and I want to mark that, it is one push of this button to store a manhole point here. And now if we zoom in, there's our point 4 manhole. We're still laying out, so nothing has changed. We're doing both at the same time. And this can be a really efficient way to do both layout and feature coding simultaneously. And of course, you can have as many codes in your list as you want on your quick code list, and you can go back and change those at any time. And then if you're done with it, you just press the quick codes button to shrink this menu back in. I'm going to jump now into another drawing to show dimensioning, which is another nice new tool in version 2.0. So I'm going to open this drawing Civil 3D, and I've already localized onto this drawing. Many times you want to draw the dimensioning on the drawing so it's easier to see in the DXF file the dimensions of certain things. If you go into the Create button on the left, you'll notice a new dimensioning tool. And we've got a few options here. The first is how we're going to select the items we want to dimension. So like many other select features in the software, you can do it by picking items on the screen, by boxing it in using a box select, or even by doing the dimensions of everything on a particular layer. So I'm going to leave that to pick. Text size is actually a text size scalar. That's what will be multiplied times the horizontal scale of your drawing that's already defined to decide to set up the size of the dimensioning text that will be created in the drawing. Next, you can select the destination layer that you want your dimensioning to go onto, and that defaults to this dim text layer so that you can easily turn it on and off. And finally, we're going to give you the options of all the text styles that are already defined in your drawing will be here in this drop list. So I've got this the way I want it, so I'm just going to do, actually let's do a box select, and I'm just going to select this house here on this drawing, and you can see that the dimensioning is on here automatically. And if I just hit create, it's now created. I can go back, and that will remain in my drawing. So it makes it really easy to add dimensioning to anything in your drawing from layout. The dimensioning tool has also been baked into some of our existing sketch routines. So if we go to the Create tool, and we'll go to the Sketch option, which is one of our more popular sketch routines. And I'm just going to use this to create a little addition off the back of this building. So I'll pick my starting point, just the corner of the building. And there's a new option for dimensioning here. So when this is on, what it means is that the dimensions that you create in this routine will be automatically plotted into the drawing. So let me just go ahead and pull my angle here from the CAD drawing. So let's do 25 feet, that's fine. Angle from CAD, we'll just pick this line, accept, and create. And then I'm going to rotate 90 degrees, create, and rotate again and create. So we've added a little addition here. And because I have my dimensioning text turned on, when I hit back, of course, the dimensioning will remain in the drawing as I created it. Now I want to talk about the second new paid module in version 2.0, which is hybrid. Now we're going to do a whole separate video on hybrid because it's a big topic, but I'm going to quickly go over the features that are available and how to use it in layout. So I'm going back to the dashboard for this, and I've created a new job with nothing in it called hybrid. And you'll notice one of the changes in this version is that you now select your mode from the dashboard. So previously we've been doing rover mode or total station mode, and now we have this option hybrid plus. And when I do, I can select my rover and my total station from the dashboard. I have my rover set already to the simulator, but I'm going to go ahead and set my total station to the simulation as well. So we're going to do simulation, robotic simulation, and comms connect. Okay, done. When you're on the dashboard and you're using hybrid, when you press this reconnect button, it'll actually reconnect both instruments fully. So I'll just press reconnect so you can see that. It's connecting to both. Of course, they're simulators, so it's very fast. And then the next step is to start the hybrid wizard using this big button at the bottom. Antenna heights in hybrid are tied closely together, so you're on the same pole, so there's a fixed offset between the two antennas, which is based on the geometry of your hybrid prism. So normally I'm going to set my TS prism height in at 2 meters. And if we know the defined offset based on your prism type, we'll go ahead and populate it here. But since we're running in a simulation, I'm just going to make one up that the GPS is just a little bit higher than the total station. So here our hybrid offset, based on what I put in, is 0.118 feet. And what that means is that in the rest of the software, when I move my height up and down, regardless of whether I'm in total station mode or prism mode, it's going to move together. So I'll press next. And here's where we're deciding how we're going to set up our hybrid. We want to bring the total station into state plane coordinates. We're trying to set up the total station in GPS coordinates. That's where we would want to use match TS to GPS grid using hybrid resection. And what that feature does is it is going to read from the total station in GPS at the exact same time synchronized. And so you're going to go and take 3 measurements to create a hybrid resection to bring the total station coordinates into the GPS. The other options here is to do an automatic localization. Now this will be a case where you have a job in local coordinates and you need to bring the GPS into your local job. So in that case, what you would do is you're going to be measuring your GPS to known local coordinates. Like I said, we're going to do a whole hybrid video on how to run all these options. For the moment, we're going to pause and jump out of this so I can show you the actual features that are available in the hybrid module. Once you have completed your hybrid setup, either by hybrid resection or automatic localization, you'll notice that the hybrid icon in the top right-hand corner, which was previously just a single instrument icon, now shows both instruments. And the larger one represents the one that is the current active instrument. So if we tap this now, you can see the status of both your instruments available from the status icon. So if we tap on GPS, we can see that our GPS is fixed and that it is not the primary instrument right now. The total station is, as evidenced by the larger icon. And then we can have all the things that are available typically in our GPS status bar. If we tap on RTS, now we're looking at our total station and the options that are always available there, including changing the target type. And of course, primary is checked on this one. And so if I want to change instruments, all I need to do is tap the other one, and now the icon is changed. The GPS is primary. This means if I store a position, it will be stored with the GPS driver at this point. So the other way to change the instruments, if we shrink this down, you can also change by long pressing on the status icon. So if I press and hold on the status icon for just about 2 seconds, it switches automatically between GPS and total station. Now back into that, there's a third tab here, and that is the gear icon. And that is your hybrid settings. So here's where we get into really the meat of what the hybrid module can do. When you're running both instruments at once, it means that basically we always have the GPS position of your prism, which can make surveying very quick. And the best way to do that is by using this Smart Lock option. What Smart Lock does is if you're walking along with your total station in total station mode and you lose track of the prism with the total station, so maybe you have gone behind some trees and you're unable to track, you keep losing the prism through the trees. When Smart Lock is enabled, as soon as you slow down with your GPS and the GPS knows that it's slowing down, the total station will automatically turn to the GPS position, which is also where the prism is, and lock in. This means that by the time you've stopped and leveled up your pole, you're already locked back onto the prism without ever having to even push a search button on the total station. It's just like magic. Follow Me is an add-on to that. When Follow Me is enabled, it makes it just a little bit faster by incrementally turning toward the GPS as you walk. Even though it's not trying to lock, it's sort of following along behind you. And then when you slow to a stop, that's when it's going to try to lock. Under that, we have backup tracking. When you're staking with the total station, many times you will lose your tracking with the total station while you're walking to the point. Maybe you're going behind things, and if you're using just a total station, then you would lose directions to your point when that happens. When backup tracking is on, even if you lose your tracking to the total station, we're going to continue to provide you stakeout directions using the GPS, even when you're in total station mode. So you never lose your stakeout directions to the point. And then when you get to the point, if Smart Lock is on, the system will recognize that you are now at the stakeout point, and it will turn and lock on you when you get to the stakeout point. So once again, by the time you've leveled up near to your stakeout point, the total station is going to turn and lock on you and be ready to go. This is the real power of hybrid and running both instruments at the same time. Finally, this says bypass because I'm running with the simulator, but we do have this feature called cross-check that is built into hybrid. And what that means is that anytime we have both positions available, we will measure both positions and make sure that they are within a tolerance to each other, meaning that they match. This completely eliminates the idea that you would have a false fix with the GPS or a total station that is locking onto a window or a mirror, because the positions have to match, and if they don't, it will give you an error. So you're not ever going to have a false fix again when you're running hybrid. So this is happening automatically. There's some options here. Automatic means that it's going to cross-check no matter what. And silent means that it'll cross-check and note it in your raw file what the cross-check difference was, but it won't pop up and warn you. This can be useful in places where maybe you don't have great GPS position, but you're still using your total station, and you want to still note the difference between the positions, but you don't want a warning all the time. So that's what cross-check is. And of course, you can come in here anytime and push the cross-check button and manually check the difference between your total station and GPS measurements, which should be very close. So that's just a little bit about hybrid. It's a huge topic, and we will make a separate video all about just how to use hybrid in layout. It's a paid module, but having both the total station and the GPS together really ups the power of your survey and how quickly you can move in the field and get things done. Now we're going to jump over and connect to the total station to show just a couple of total station features that are available in this version. I'm now connecting to the Carlson CRX total station. So I'll press done to connect to it. And I want to show you that up in the top bar now in the search drop down, which is this little icon here, that you can press on this button to trigger a search. But if you press the little down icon next to it, you can see all the available searches. And you'll notice this new triple 360 option. This is a really powerful version of the power search, particularly useful for when you're way up on a hill or down in a hole and your power search is not finding you, which can happen because the vertical band of a power search on the CRX is, I think, 20 degrees up and down from where it's pointing. So many times if you get high or low, the power search can't find you. Or if the total station is pointed high or low, and then you need to use the joystick to bring it down. You can bypass that with the triple 360 search. What this does is turn the scope of the instrument directly to 90 degrees and perform a power search. Then it rotates up and performs a power search. Then it rotates down and performs a power search. This means that almost anywhere you are with your prism, regardless of where the total station is facing, it's going to find you. So this is a very powerful new search option and available from the top bar. Once you've selected it, you can tap the icon again to do it every time. Layout version 2 also supports direct and reverse for total station, which is a feature that's been requested for a long time. So if we go to the measure tab for total station, you'll notice that now there's this drop arrow here next to the measure button. If you press down, you can do direct and reverse. So the three options here are measured, which is a configured read, quick measure, which will store the latest tracking measurement if you're tracking, and direct or reverse, which will measure in the direct, automatically turn to the reverse and measure in the reverse. So that's available now in the measure screen and also in resection if you need it. Back to the dashboard, we can see that this version of the Carlson layout will be the first version to support the Carlson CRT total station, which we're now offering for sale, available in the driver list. And this actually runs on board the CRT total station. So you can run it from a data collector, or if you're running on board, select the onboard version of the driver to run on board. And it also supports, if we go to GPS, the all new and recently released Carlson Viking GPS receiver, available in the list, as well as the Vasco B base station if you need to do base station setup. So some all new instrument drivers in this version. And another new feature is job attributes. So if we go to the pyramid icon, and we go to settings, let's collapse everything. Down at the bottom, you'll see this option for job attributes. And here we can set up attributes that we want to be collected every time we start a new job. And then those, of course, will be included in any reports or exports that we do. So some people need to set up job attributes. Point attributes were already supported. You can see here that I've got surveyor name, weather, and assistant in here as my job attributes, which means if I go back to the dashboard and I select the plus icon to start a new job, immediately after I am prompted for my attributes. So we'll call this Sarah, weather, hot, and my assistant, Joe. So those are my job attributes. You can set those up to be basically any string you want for your job attribute you can set up to collect as you start your jobs. One more feature to note over in feature code settings. Under the feature code, you'll see this new option for use special codes. This is for people who are using their feature coding to draw line work and layout and then want to bring that into another CAD program like ServPC or the Carlson desktop software and need to be able to draw the line work. What you can set up here is so that when you create automatic line work and layout, the software will automatically append the special codes to that. We would use ST or EL to start and end line, for instance, so that your feature coding created in Carlson layout will be functional when you bring it into your CAD program. So a little bit of a specialty feature there for people who are doing advanced coding, but there it is, and you can set those special codes to be whatever you want. I hope this video has been a useful overview of the new features and modules that you can expect in Layout 2.0. As always, we are very driven by your feedback and your needs as we continue to develop this product, so you can expect more improvements and more features as we continue to release patches. Thank you very much for listening.